Bonjour, willkommen, howdy, and welcome back to another day in paradise. Very cold paradise today. Had some frost overnight, so we have to keep moving. I'm wrapped up warm because we're outside, and why is that? We're looking again at those AMX13 brakes, so hopefully we'll be able to do the differentials and the other outside lateral, and then look at the levers and make sure it's all linked up properly. So that's what we need to get done. Welcome. And here we are, and I'm actually upside down inside the driving position of an AMX13 tank.
The camera died. No, yeah, I'm, as I said, upside down in the driving position of an AMX, hence my head's swelling up, and if I don't get out of here, because I've been down here for about half an hour, let's just show you what I'm trying to work on. So this just gives you an idea of the absolute madness. Over here is the back, or the locking nut. I suppose you can't even see it up here, and I've got to try and work in this space. So I've got Jez passing down tools through a small hole up here from the front of the tank, and to give you an understanding of where I am, that's the driving position, and I'm down in here. It is a nightmare, and I'm only 5'7", I think. By the time I get out here, I'm going to be about 4 foot, so I can't carry on. Before the cramp sets in.
Welcome to the driving position. I'm now the right way up, so thank goodness for that, because my head was swelling up and I couldn't even put my hat on. So let's go and have a look at the complexities of what we're dealing. So in the beginning of the video and last video, we're actually looking at the brake bands themselves, but once you get inside the we'll call it the cockpit, the driving position, you're just met with a lot of levers and things that do stuff. Okay, so these outside are the brakes. Okay, so these are the lateral brakes. You can only use these when you're slowly moving along or you want to bring it to a halt, okay, because these are dangerous. If I was batting along and pulled on this, the tank could spin round and there's sort of possibility it could flip over or lose a track or something. So these on the inside, these are steering using brake bands, but they're bathed in oil. So these are called the differential brakes. So these are the diff brakes, and on the outside are called the lateral brakes. Now, well, that's quite simple, and you just pull on this and you pull on that. But you want them to be even. You don't want one to come further than the other, or the brake to come on sooner on this side than the other, because as you pull on them, you're going to end up with the tank shimmying around. So this is where all these linkages come in. So each one of these levers ends up with a linkage that goes then across and into the gearbox. So look at this here, this design. You've got this linkage actually near enough. Oops, here we go. Near enough touches that linkage there. You see the two can be knocked together. So that is not great. When you pull on this linkage here, which we've actually had to put in a threaded bar, when it comes down it hits this, and do you know what that is there? That is the accelerator. So as you pull and brake here, it increases the revs, which is not what you want. So there's quite a bit of design feature here that I don't think is original AMX. This has been put in afterwards, so we have to sort of try and start to look at and modify some of this and bring these brakes acting quicker rather than on their full travel. So that's what's happening. We've also got over here, this is just the headlamps, full and dip beam, and underneath I've actually, for the first time, even after owning the tank for a number of years, I've just found another pedal. So there's one here which is the brake pedal. This is the brake release pedal like you used to get on those old Mercedes cars. So that's great, and I know about all of that. There's another pedal here. I don't even know what that does. So it's not in the manual. So, whoops, we're going to have to go and track down where some of these linkages go and what they actually do. As not knowing what your vehicle's capable of is not a great start. Oh, right, there's one final thing between my legs. Well, hey, here we are. Oh, and there's this. And this is called the dog clutch. So what this means is by pushing it forwards, it disengages the drive to the right-hand side, or someone might say the left, and vice versa, pulling back. Why do you need that? Because these only the vehicle only drives forward and you use the brakes to steer. If I push one of these levers forward and pull this one back, it does not turn on its axis. What you can do is disengage the drive to the entire side of that tank, and what will actually happen is the driving force of the track that works will actually sort of pirouette the tank. So this is a very quick way of spinning the tank around. Again, look at it, right in the way, for driving. These pedals are enormously high. This one is tucked away. You've got tiny little things down in there. I just think these tanks were obviously built for smaller people who are a bit more nimble than I am. I could just dap in on those different pedals when they needed to. But let's just have one final look. So what have we got? Outside brakes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you've got this lever in here, 5, 6. Another foot pedal, 7, 8. One I've just found, 9. You've got the accelerator, 10. So you've got 10 things to do potentially when you're driving this, so it takes a lot of concentration. Okay, so what we've realised is the AMX that we've working on out there, the Detroit diesel engine sits a little bit further forward than the petrol engines that were in there. So the people that put that engine in, because I didn't, they've cut some of the braking arms, welded them slightly off centre, so it misses out on an important pump that's on the front of the Detroit engine. So that basically means that they've got the angle wrong. So no matter what we're doing to try and sort out the steering, it's still, even though we're doing it evenly across all of the bands, one seems to be looser than the rest. So we can't take that gearbox out and cut it, we just don't have the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a plunger in. It's a bit longer than the one that was designed for the tank, and that will then activate the brake a little bit quicker, making up for the fact that they've welded this arm in incorrectly. So what we've basically got here is one of them, and we've cut it in half, and we've got both ends. So these are the two ends here, and we're just going to weld it together. So I've made up this sleeve to hold it in place for when I'm welding it, because obviously when we weld and put the heat in here, it's going to bend it slightly like a banana, and we don't want that. We need that to be accurately lined up. So we're going to put those two together. I'm going to use the paint scraper here, and I just push it slightly like that, and that makes sure that everything is lined up nicely. So let's wallop the welder on and get a weld into that. And then what we'll do is we'll rotate it inside of this sleeve so it holds it in the right position, and then we'll cut the sleeve off and then grind the weld back. That's what I'm hoping. So,
make an engine review yet, Baz?
I think Baz is going to have to do a lot of deleting and swearing in that.
So, Jez, how are you getting on with this AMX13 then?
Not very well.
Okay.
I'm in a bit of trouble with the split head. It's amazing what is still knocking about in the backs of warehouses across Europe. So I happened to go to a site in which held a lot of AMX13 spares. I bought quite a lot of bits and bobs over the years. There's things like this. So what is that? No idea. 5330 142110567. If any of you actually know what this gasket is, you get an award. I'm going to tell you now anyway. If you don't want to know, fast forward. That is the gasket to go in this space here. So it's amazing to think that these tanks, this is like 1940s technology, and you can still get the gasket. So let's put that gasket in, and we'll put the covers back over these brakes. So there we go. Joint geb, apparently, whatever that is. Isn't that nice? Okay, why have we got a gasket in here? It's to try and keep the moisture out, because obviously if it drops in on all of this work we've done, it's going to seize it all up. So all these are working really nicely now. They're all set up, which is great. So I'm just going to make sure the cover goes on correctly. You've got 2 bolt holes at the top and 3 along the bottom. So you can't really put one of these on back to front. So let's have a go. Here we go, going in. Whoopsie-daisy. Whoops. There you go. That's what's under that hatch. Over here I've got all of the bolts, and we're going to put these bolts back in. Before we do so, we always give a coat of copper grease. So there we go. So make it much easier the next time we take that bolt out. So it needs a washer, spring washer, one in here. There we go. Pop that over the end. Whoops. And in we go. Line it up. It always takes a little bit to get the things going. Is that going in? side. Da 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 da. Done. Nice. So we've done the brakes. I think it was described as a premier echelon maintenance. So that basically means something that happens in the field. I think the French used to use maybe 3, 4. I'm sure someone put something in the comments. 3 or 4 echelons, and that means different levels of technical ability. So we're just doing stuff that the driver or the crew of the tank would have done, nothing more. Echelon 2 would have been probably in the field with mechanics, 3 back at the base, etc. I guess Echelon 6 would be back in the factory. Who knows? Let's go over and find out what Ollie's up to. Hi Ollie, you alright?
How are we doing?
Good man. What we're doing today then?
So we've just taken a belly pan off the bottom of the tank, and I believe it's one of the braking mechanisms.
Yes.
And the gasket seems to be a little bit worse for wear. So we're going to replace that when the belly pan goes back on, but I'm just cleaning out the inside because there's all sorts of nasty things down there.
For those that aren't really familiar with tanks, obviously they've got belly plates, which is basically there's armour even under the engine. So it's sort of hermetically sealed. So if you get any leaks on the engine, or even if you get like a big downpour of rain that goes in through the top, through the fan or etc. on this vehicle, it can actually just sit in the belly. And then as you drive around, it swashes about and either gets your feet covered in stuff or just gets stuck. So let's have a look at the belly plate we've taken off.
So there you go, there's one of the belly plates.
Okay, that is absolutely... What is that? I'm not even going to touch it.
Mud, oil, water.
Right, okay, so yeah, that definitely needs
Nasty
a bit of a clean off. So we'll clean all that off. The gasket, try and get up inside as much as you can.
I have. It's a bit tight because one of the torsion bars goes directly across the front.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so
okay.
I'm trying to squeeze under a torsion bar.
Well, I'll give it a good squirt, put down a rag so when it comes out it doesn't form something that's hazardous or burn. Here's the gaskets. I mean, I was very lucky to be able to get hold of these. I've got quite a few of them now, as I bought rather like trains. Came along one, and then all of a sudden I had about 9 sets. So luckily we've got all the belly plate gaskets, so there's time to replace them anyway, as the original, as you can see, is broken. Now, why are we doing this? This simply isn't part of the Echelon 1. This is just us cleaning it out because we just did work on the brakes. There was an incredible amount of brake cleaners been in there. We've dropped stuff. I think even there's a bit of greasing went on, not on the brakes. A bit of grease could have dropped. So we just want to try and clean that out to make sure it's not swashing about as we're driving. As you can imagine, extremely flammable brake cleaner in on a hot engine and kaboom.